I've been meaning to do an update video for a while. I'm going to check on a cow that's just calved and see what's going on there, but I want to take a minute while I was walking to send an update, kind of recovery, relief efforts, all of that. Just to give a backstory, and bring you all the way up to speed. So this could be sort of a long video, I guess, but want to cover everything. So the obviously Hurricane Helene hit North Carolina really hard, and I was seeing a bunch of stuff on groups, message groups and things like that, saying what people needed, the damage. There was pictures, and I was just like, man, we gotta get in the fight on this one. And so I put out a call for donations, and everybody showed up really big. Was able to allow me to afford a extended fuel tank, or a transfer tank is what it's called, and I was able to put enough gas on the truck to be able to go and do work and come back without filling up. So my purpose in going out there, I linked up with a group called Backcountry Cavalry. In the past I'd called it Backcountry Rescue. That was the wrong name. It's Backcountry Cavalry. And then they put me in touch with the Canton Livestock Yard, or the Western North Carolina Livestock Yard. I thought I was serving Backcountry Cavalry, but I was kind of going, they were just distributing like the jobs that people needed, and that was the one I signed up for. I ended up being very frustrated once I got there. It was very disorganized, and I'm not throwing shade at anybody. I think that what I experienced in general, not just there, everybody in that area, there's so much devastation in pockets, and I want to emphasize pockets, because I guess in my mind when I went out there I thought everything would be decimated, and it's not like that. There's normal life in some areas, and in other areas it's totally decimated. But the ones who were the most affected, they're overwhelmed. And so I know that in large part, I know that's what was happening at the Canton Stockyard. And then you got to figure the people who manage that place, they're a livestock yard management team, not like an equivalent of Amazon distribution center management team. So like they're definitely overtasked and underemployed. There are a lot of volunteers there, but anyways, it's just supplies were coming in. I like to say conservatively 10 semi truckloads a day, and then tons and tons of private people privately pulling stuff from their towns. I talked to one guy, he had 40 tons of feed on the back of his 30 or 40 foot trailer. But thinking about it, on the grand scale, like, the recovery effort has to be sustainable, because this isn't going to get better overnight. So what I ended up doing, I'm all over the place, I guess, sorry. So what I ended up doing is I realized that the Canton Stockyard wasn't necessarily going to be able to employ me the way I expected, or the way I planned, or the way I was told I would be employed. And so I prayed really hard that night, went to bed, woke up, and just kind of thought, I'm going to start from scratch. My whole thing was to not go out there rogue, but it's kind of what ended up happening a little bit. So So I got on a Facebook group chat that I was on for farmers, and I just asked who has a need. That was about 7:30 in the morning, and by 8:30 I think I was on the phone with a guy, a new friend of mine. His name's Marty, and he was just kind of telling me everything he needed. Well, a tornado had touched down on his house, like not on his house, but on his property on the mountaintop, and it laid down a bunch of oaks right on his fence line, and a bunch of his cows and goats got out. And so anyways, I'll, I I was a little overwhelmed myself by hearing him talk, and I was like, hey, what I do hear you saying is you got a lot of work to do, and you also said that you've been feeding hay since all this happened because you're having to keep your cows in a tight area because the fencing is down. Let me bring you some replacement hay, and let me come look, and let's see if we can't like develop a plan. I also had friends working. I didn't realize at the time how close to that where I was gonna go, but it turns out that they were about 20 minutes from Marty's house. Anyways, I reached out to them and said, hey, because they've been developing like connections and networking and all this, and so they were able, believe it or not, with the connections they made. Keep in mind, these guys quit their jobs and are up there borderline full time. I mean, one's been up there 24/7 since it all went down, and the other one goes home on the weekends to his family and works Monday through Friday up in the mountains. So they're very dedicated. One's from Florida, one's from South Carolina, neither one of them from North Carolina. Called them, and they were able to get me on the phone with an excavator, a guy who owned an excavator, and so I was with Marty. I took a lot of pictures, and then I communicated to the excavator what I was seeing, and I just left it in his hands to make that determination. It turns out, and then I connected him and Marty. They talked about routes, and then I called the state trooper and got routes that they knew were good enough to get that guy down. He drove down earlier in the week to confirm their routes. Anyways, he ends up bringing the crew down, doing all the work Marty needed, and I'm pretty sure Marty must have gotten the fences up by now. I'm not sure, but I'm still pushing some people to him. So essentially, what I've kind of done in my heart and my mind is I've adopted this area called Jack's Creek, and then my other friend Chris, who is one of the guys working up there, he's also kind of adopted Jack's Creek, and so we're kind of just working together, getting the needs met of the community. So, you know, Marty's family, they all live in this immediate area. It's all, you know, at one point his father's land, and then Marty bought some adjacent land and a house, and you know, they're kind of, I mean, they're all surrounded by high ground, and what ended up happening is all that rain started washing down the gullies. Marty got lucky because he had a pretty decent, not huge sized pond behind his house. Well, that ended up filling up with mud from the mudslides that were happening up at the top of the mountain. His family just on the other side of the ridge line wasn't so fortunate. A tree took out his nephew's house, which was really his great grandfather's house, built in the early 1900s. Took that out, washed the street away, and where it didn't wash the street away, washed 6-foot gullies on either side of the road, exposing water lines. Power lines dropped, and so they had not had power, and really honestly, I wouldn't say they're projected to have power anytime soon. Some of their vehicles washed at like a quarter mile down the road, piled up on top of this little church's well, so they didn't have water either. And so I also got in contact, that one guy with the excavator, Randall, he contacted me, put me in contact with a guy named Daryl. Daryl was from Bowling Green, Kentucky. Daryl went out and moved some dirt off of all the mud was piled up in the church parking lot. They cleared that out, backfilled Marty's driveway, or road up his mountain to where his cows are at and all that. So a lot happened in a short amount of time, thankfully, with my friends and their connections, which I've been trying to work with them and help them. I'm scouring the internet. Like, there's a lot of people up there that want to work that and volunteer that kind of have a hard time finding places to do it. And so my guys are on the ground. So what I've been doing since I've been home is pushing all these things I see on Facebook that people looking to volunteer. So right now we kind of have scheduled a few different groups to come in and work the Jacks Creek area. It's all around Black Mountain and the Toe River, all of which got hit pretty hard. And a lot of those people were without power and water, like I said. So just this week alone, we've coordinated 2 excavation crews, maybe a third in the works. We've coordinated a church group that wants to come provide meals to the community. So they're gonna have a meal drive or something, hopefully here in the next couple weeks, serving food out of that church right there where we cleared the mud out of and got the cars off the well. We got another church group that's looking to come down, and I'm connecting all these guys with Chris, and Chris is, to my knowledge and understanding, like just running it all from there. My heart is always going to be at the end of the day to help the farmers. Marty and his wife Tammy, we talk a couple times a week via text or phone call, and a lot of the farmers are looking to shut down. She said the little bit of hope that they have comes from people like me who are willing to, go the extra mile to make sure they make it. And that's my conviction. Hay is going to be a huge problem for them. I mean, it's potentially going to be a problem for us in this region too. I have my hay for the year, and I think I'm all set, but I have connections down here where I know I can buy lesser quality hay for like $10 a bale and everything. My constraint is not having a big enough trailer, so I'm thinking about, I have a 16-foot flatbed trailer, and I have a 2-horse trailer, and I think I might be able to sell those for enough to turn around and buy a 20 or 30 foot deck over trailer where I can put a lot of hay on it, and then I could take that hay straight to this little valley that I inherited called Jacks Creek. And so I'm just asking him for the Lord to open up doors there. I have about $1,500 in donations still in the account. All of that went to fuel and a couple of 100 feet of water hose that I gave a guy so that he could have running water in his house. I forgot to talk about that. And so that's kind of the way I'm going. I do feel like it's not something that I want to ask everybody for, but if it was in your heart to sow into a trailer, I know I can buy hay here and take it up, because at the end of the day, the Canton Stockyard is servicing like that whole area, and they're already asking for more supplies. And so I just kind of think, if I can at this point take the burden off of the stockyard by taking everything up and just making a big run up there with a bunch of stuff once a month, it would be helpful, and it would be a long-term sustainment type situation. And then while I'm there, I can help, do work or whatever, make more supply runs to different areas, and bringing stuff back to people. Tammy and Marty and Chris and Tammy and Marty live there. Chris just comes and goes. He's volunteering, he's working. As we find people's needs, we're resourcing those needs and bringing that stuff in, and we're going to continue to do that. This is a situation where people who have been affected have been severely affected. Entire houses washed away. And I think that the big push right now is gonna fade, and then these people, what we don't want to do is forget these people, and so So for me and my heart and my motivation is that we can be an enduring mission to take supplies at a minimum, take supplies up there and meet their people's needs on a monthly basis. Also, a bunch of nonprofits are working together with my buddy Bill. Well, they connected with Bill somehow. I don't know all the details about it, but he's kind of their point of contact, and they're sewing a bunch of money into a family store up there, and the objective there is to make that family store a donation center where we can bring in supplies that are, at these distribution hubs, like load up and then bring them to the general store, and then that would be a donation hub, because that area is, I won't say it's totally isolated, but it's out there a bit, and it's semi cut off because the river got washed the bridges away and all of this stuff. And so that's the update. That's generally what's going on, and what I'm thinking, and the road that I'm going down is I do think it would be highly beneficial to be able to haul hay from here to the farmers in the Jacks Creek Valley on a monthly basis. They're going to be getting other hay as well from other people, but like it's kind of one of those situations where there's so much need that they're not going to get everything they need all at once, and it's going to have to trickle in. It's kind of how I farmed last year. I didn't have all the hay I needed going into winter, and I really just relied on like provision and selling eggs and milk and chicken and whatever as I went to buy hay to sustain the farm. And so these folks don't have the ability to really even work right now. It's just like a whole nother world over there. And my heart has been there ever since. And, I'm stuck in this tension, which ultimately at the end of the day, I know that my responsibility is here on my farm. But at the same time, there's this deep underlining truth of, as beautiful as everything that we have here and wonderful as it is and as blessed as we are, what good is it when people who had very little now have nothing? And how do I sit here enjoying what I have when I know that people literally lost everything? They lost loved ones. Like entire families got swept away. It's just the amount of death. I know that everybody wants to talk about how the numbers, there's this huge debate on how many people are dead versus not dead, and there's not that many. I'm going to tell you right now, there's a lot of people that are missing and dead right now. Like, just on Thursday alone, in the immediate area, the Toe River General Store, they found 4 dead bodies buried in mud. So pray for families. Pray for the ones who are lost, that they'd be found. Pray for the hearts to be healed, the land to be mended. Like, I know the Lord can do major and mighty things in that area, but it's gonna take all of us praying and interceding, asking the Lord for wisdom and how we can get involved. I'm fortunate I live in this state. It's just about 5 hours away from me, and in my heart, I just want to be able to drive fencing supplies and hay and feeders and whatever they need. I want to be able to take it to them, because there's so much need up there. Like, adopt a valley. That's kind of my thought process. Like, adopt a family. I kind of adopted Marty and Tammy, and I'm asking them to help me find other people who need help. And it is resource intensive, but at the end of the day, like, that's kind of where I'm at with it. we have to do it in a more micro scale than a macro scale, because the macro scale is strained, and this micro scale can bless people. And so anyways, yes, I'm rambling. It's been 20 minutes. That's about all I have. I mean, if you want to continue to donate and help the cause, I will keep my Facebook has my Venmo and my Cash App. I honestly prefer Cash App at this point. But anyways, I really do appreciate everything that everybody has donated. That money, as of right now, that I still have in our account, that I opened a separate account for all the money that was donated, and that money is solely going to trips up there. And if all I have is my 16-foot trailer and 3 bales of hay, it makes a difference. And I hope to be able to get those sold and pick up something bigger. You know, it does help my farm too, but at the end of the day, like, I've managed with a 16-foot trailer, and it's been fine. So I don't have to have that giant trailer for my farm, but I do really need it to be able to take a substantial amount of hay in one trip from here to there. And like I said, I have connections with farmers that sell, you know, it's not the best quality hay, but it's gonna put feed in a cow's belly for the winter. And also, I am talking to Hillary, and depending on how things go, for Marty, I told him I'm open to having a conversation about taking his calves down here and wintering them here until the spring, when he starts growing grass again. But that's where we're at. Bottom line up front, or bottom line in the rear, is I've basically adopted a family in a valley, and this is just the beginning of a long-term recovery effort and mission that I very much feel called to, while balancing what I have going on here on my farm. And so, again, last thing I'll say, I really appreciate everybody's generosity and partnering in prayer over this. And I appreciate you. My time there was very frustrating at first, and very enlightening and heartwarming and beneficial in the end. So if you made it this far, I really appreciate you giving me the time, giving me your ear, getting this off my chest. I've been meaning to send an update for a while, and it's just, I've been so busy with different things that I haven't had a chance. But I hope that my rambling suffices to give you an idea of what's going on, where my heart is in it all, what my motivation is in it all, and what the direction forward is from here until, I mean, maybe for me personally, maybe springtime. I want to help them get through the winter for sure. All right, so that's about it. Hillland Farm has adopted Jack's Valley unofficially as its sister valley, community. So, and honestly, like I did, I'm asking people to, to contribute and to go, and there's so much going on. If you want to get involved other than just donating money or resources to farmers and locals, I mean, I can get you in touch with people on the ground, and you can go and serve on the ground if you want to. But I think the biggest thing to remember is, like, this is a long road to hoe. Just Marty's family on that other side where that house got washed out, I'm telling you, I feel like with a dedicated crew of equipment and all this stuff, like, it is a year solid worth of work to get them back to normal. And that's like dedicated time. So I just don't know that this is, you know, I do know that this isn't going to happen overnight, and it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of dedication. So that's the update. There's a Facebook group that my friend runs. It's called RODA, RODA, Bringing Light into the Darkness. And there's a lot of updates on there. I'm kind of working with them here and there, like I'm pushing them resources, but also with that, Chris is kind of the initiator of that group, who's also with me. We're really tackling the Jacks Creek area. So bless you guys. Thank you for making it 25 minutes. I just keep going. So now I'm officially going to end it. Bye.